Hello, everyone. I have a sneaking suspicion I may be part of the whole volcano debacle erupting also. We had an initiation ritual for some people, one of whose name has been mentioned here yesterday, making them jump barefoot and take on spirit names. I presided over the thing with the spirit name of Gridlock. That was sort of unfortunate, I think, because all the traffic in Europe has been completely gridlocked now for a couple of days. It may not have anything to do with each other, but also it may. I came here to talk about one of my favorite parts of the Nordic Larp scene, which I sadly haven't engaged in much for a few years, and that is the quest for the perfect manifestation of a dream. A 360, at least 6 senses, 24/7 illusion of reality. The immersive aesthetics of our emerging culture. This is me in different realities. Today, there's a lot of talk about entering different realities, from online games to the boom of 3D movies. Who the hell saw that one coming, by the way? It seems that the big media is more and more becoming similar to Aldous Huxley's vision of entertainment in Brave New World. A cinema of endless helicopter chases and sloppy kisses where the audience sits transfixed and wide-eyed and just runs with it. These 3D movies, next-gen graphic, motion tracking V devices and so on are all labeled as immersive. Well, I say immersive my ass. Let's make just a simple point example. This is Medal of Honor, the franchise of Second World War games. It has amazing graphics. You might even get a little shake in your hands when you play it. This is Whedon, the Wrath, a game designed by Emil Boss in 2005. And here you see people wearing actual Russian gear from the time period, holding rifles, which are real rifles, shooting machine guns, and living in the sort of oppressive reality that a soldier in the Soviet army had at the end of the war. Even comparing the immersiveness of these two formats quickly becomes ridiculous. And we've been doing this without technology for years and years. So watch out. Now it may be so-called 4D cinemas in Seoul that is all the rage, where you can actually watch Avatar and get some water thrown on you, or have something blow up in the background and smell the cordite. But I mean, come on. They don't even get close to the bodily experience that we have been generating for years. But I think it's amazing that that culture today is looking towards a more immersive, all-encompassing feel. Because as we know, God is not a DJ, God is a GM. In the tradition of live-action role-playing games in a Nordic country, every single stimuli that we think of as a part of reality is available as a tool. We paint with the colors of the gods themselves. We can use music, touch, pain, light, darkness, nature, anything, and orchestrate it into the ultimate Gesamtkunstwerk, which would make Wagner green with envy. So, what are some of the basic parts of this aesthetic? First, let's talk about the costumes. This is it's a big part of an obsession for a lot of LARPers. There are games that have actually had the demands that all your costumes have to be made by hand and sewn by hand. I can understand this. There is something very special about waking up in the morning in a medieval tent and seeing a butterfly landing on your linen shirt and seeing the hems of your shirt being sewn with perfect stitches and so on. The levels people go to with armor and so on is just extreme. There's nothing, you can't call it anything else but obsessive. The other thing is the spaces, the extreme locations that we use. You have seen examples of several of them here today. And one, I think the uniting factor here is style over comfort. Participants are willing to sacrifice a lot of their comfort, be cold, wet, hungry, and so on, in order to achieve the perfect illusion. And they often span also 24/7, day and night. This is an underground nuclear reactor that we used as a base camp for the game Momentum. The last image was from The Shadow of the Ring, the best adaptation of Tolkien's work done in any medium, I think. So why do this? Why go to these extreme lengths of detailed crafting and space making? I think it's because of the somewhat romantic quest for banishing reality temporarily. It can be done with a great number of methods, some of which we've heard about here today. But the simple fact that if you have a perfect reality, you can concentrate your forces of imagination to sustain your character and the journey to another place, becoming someone else, instead of pretending that a rubber sword is actually made out of metal, or that a hand sign is actually the symbol for being dominated by a vampire. The more steps you take towards realizing these things, the easier it becomes to just slip out of yourself and let someone else slip in for a time. I want to quickly talk about, we just mentioned some of the methods that I've used in 2 games. One was Hamlet, which is an adaptation of a game that me and Gasse and several others did with Riksteatern. There we imagine an Elsinore set in Elsinore's royal bunker somewhere during the early 20th century. We used a full theater wardrobe that we gave out to the players, antique furniture, thematic food cooked for the different days to symbolize the deterioration of the court, full replicas and props, guns that actually fire blanks, etc. Jazz bands, Ophelia singing some of her emotions out as jazz songs, full radio broadcast, a staff switchboard that made it possible to call anyone out there in the world using a phone, news report, silent movies, vintage porn, all projected onto a screen, diegetic sleeping and so-called hygiene in appropriate early 20th century method, free champagne, and the rule that says whatever happens in Elsinore stays in Elsinore, giving us the possibility for grown-up players to explore full-on sexuality, not simulated sexuality in the game. This game became a firework of passions that I'm proud to have been a part of. The other game that I made, which pushed the boundaries of this 360 illusion a lot, was the ultra-nationalist retro-future torpedo ship Carolus Rex, set in a future where Sweden has decided to take its place among the stars and fight against the ancient enemy, the Danes, who have also conquered much of space. For this, we used a Soviet whiskey-class submarine, which we stripped out all the signage and replaced it with the Swedish flags, singing Kungssången, drinking nubbe, in redesigned 1950s uniforms, sleeping in bunk beds with a full surround system, so when you fired the torpedo, you could hear it going out, grating out of the metal. When you were hit, strobe lights and special effects flared, pyrotechnics filled the place with smoke. A custom-built PC network made it possible for us to navigate the whole thing. It was one hell of a blast, and very much the same kind of thinking as in Hamlet. Enclosed space, very, very powerful sensory stimuli to transport people into an illusion of another world. I think the ultimate proof when this method succeeds is when you start dreaming in character. It's happened to me a few times, and I remember them very dearly. When your short-term memory is only buffered up by things that are hyper-authentic and in your character, something has happened in you. You focus your power of imagination to be someone else for a day, increasing your empathy, your possibility to understand, and you've become a part of the land of dreams that I think will soon stretch world over. Thank you.